I'm white, I'm a dude, and I'm for Harris.
Over the last few years, I've been thinking a lot about men.
What a variety of whiteness we have here. It's like a rainbow of beige.
Of course, men are also more free in a country where we have a president who stands up for things like access to abortion.
A woman president, man, how exciting.
If there is a God, she's a terrible writer.
Kamala Harris hosts a White Dudes for Harris Zoom call. Not a drop of testosterone in the house, a lot of estrogen too. She also holds separate Zoom rallies for black women, white women, and black men. It's almost like she's divisive. Welcome back to the JP Rex Show, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, corruption of tyrants, and Satan, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters because truth conquers. You know how President Trump holds rallies for Americans? Like, just Americans. Doesn't divide people into race, gender. It's more of a unity thing. Well, Kamala Harris, she stands for unity, and you can only create unity by creating more division. So she doesn't do in-person rallies because I think an embarrassingly small amount of people would come out to them, unlike the impressive numbers of passionate supporters that come out to Trump rallies. So instead, Kamala does Zoom calls. This is a Zoom call for Americans. No. It's not that inclusive by any stretch. Zoom calls based on your sex and gender. In other words, segregated Zoom calls. They're calling them rallies. By definition of a rally, they are not rallies. They're just trying to capitalize on some of the glory that President Trump's turnouts get. So here you can see a headline on Kamala doing a black women rally. Cool. And of course, a separate one for black men, and a separate one for white women, and yet a separate one for white dudes. For Kamala. Man, a lot of sissies on that call. What I'm really trying to say is that they're, and we'll see this in a second, not a drop of outward masculine expression. That's what I call a sissy. The word sissy is created for a reason. Calling someone a sissy who's not a sissy, that can be mean and bullying, but using the word sissy to identify objective reality, that is accurate use of language. So I think it should be white sissies for Harris would be a little more truthful, but I'm sure the fact checkers are on it. Now, before we check out who was on the White Dudes for Harris call, let's check out the White Women for Harris call rally. I'm calling it a call. I'm sorry. This is a big, powerful rally in an arena, just no arena, no power. But nonetheless, this is for white women. And who better to kick off the call for white women than a white man dressed like a woman? Before I play this man's intro on the call, let's take a look at something interesting. This man on the right is actually the man on the left. He's got a heavy filter on him so he doesn't look like himself, because here you can see on the right actual pictures of him. He looks a little scary, doesn't he? Still looks scary on the left, just a little bit less disgusting. And here's what Andy Ingo says on this Twitter post about it. The Harris campaign held a Zoom Women for Kamala fundraising event. This is the white women specifically. They did not allow black women on this call. We got to create unity through more segregation. And it featured Charlotte Clymer, who appeared in a heavily filtered image. Could actually use more filtering, if I'm honest with you. Clymer was previously known as Charles Clymer. Wait a minute. Charlotte used to be a man? I don't believe it. He's got a good surgeon. A male feminist activist. That's hilarious, by the way. A male feminist activist. Wrap your brain around that. A male feminist activist who was kicked out of the movement after being accused of being abusive to women. This is someone Kamala is having represent her. This woman, who's a man, who's abusive to women, is here for women's empowerment. Madam VP Clown Brain, she couldn't be more congruent with how she actually is. Since then, he rebranded himself into a self-identified woman named Charlotte who advocates for abortion. Killing babies, just add that one to the list. In 2019, Clymer targeted me while working for the trans advocacy group, HRC, while I was still in the hospital suffering from a brain hemorrhage because Andy got attacked by Antifa, which Biden says doesn't exist. He said in social media posts that I sought to be assaulted by Antifa. Makes sense. This guy says the victim of a violent crime provoked the criminals into beating him to the point where he had brain damage. Makes a lot of sense. This man is a woman, white woman, representing Kamala Harris. Start to make sense? But nonetheless, let's see what Charles Charlotte Clymer had to say on the White Women for Harris call.
Good evening, folks. My name is Charlotte Clymer. My pronouns are she, her.
Oh, shocker. Thank you for the pronouns. That matters. And he just misgendered himself.
I'm a writer and activist, and I am so excited to be part of this historic gathering of women across the country.
White women across the country. No black people were allowed at this. It's weird. I want everybody who wants to see my videos to watch my videos. Should I start putting on the thumbnail what gender and ethnicity are allowed to watch given video? Man, be more like Kamala. I should. We'll get back to this in just a second. But first, I want to state the obvious. Stress is a leading factor in our world today. Just look at what's happening in America. Little stressful. But here's a question. What if the answer to a better stress response is one key nutrient? Magnesium. And specifically, I'm talking about Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers. What sets Magnesium Breakthrough apart is its ability to support healthy levels of stress hormones like cortisol, a better balanced stress response in your nervous system and hormonal systems, and healthy production of GABA, the relaxing neurotransmitter that gives you more peace of mind and a better flow state. Now, most magnesium supplements just contain one or two cheap synthetic versions of magnesium, but not Magnesium Breakthrough. It contains all 7 forms of magnesium that your body must have. That's why I only recommend Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers. It's the only organic full spectrum magnesium supplement that contains all 7 forms of magnesium for stress resilience and better sleep. I've been taking Magnesium Breakthrough as part of my nightly ritual for over 4 years because it works and I feel the difference it makes. And now you can do something about your stress by getting your Magnesium Breakthrough at bioptimizers.com/JPReacts and use code JPReacts10 for 10% off yours. Again, that's bioptimizers.com/JPReacts. Get it now. Back to this ridiculousness.
Repeat to y'all what the brilliant and eloquent women have stated before me.
Kamala is very eloquent. This guy is dedicated to truth, as you know, with his pronouns.
And nor do I have the eloquence and brilliance of the women who are going to speak over the remainder of the evening.
Nor do you have the womanness of the women who are going to speak over the course of the evening.
I'm just going to tell y'all a quick story about why I proudly support Vice President Harris.
That's beautiful. Now, plot gets a little thicker after that creepy thickness. Colin Rugg posts this, and this is regard to the White Women for Harris Zoom call. New, the weird white woman who went viral during a women's Kamala Zoom call is a teacher turned influencer whose TikTok account is even more cringe than her Zoom incident. I show you her on Kamala's Zoom rally in just a second. Mrs. Frazzled is known for talking to her TikTok audience as if she is speaking to 5-year-olds. Yeah, it's very condescending. You'll see. She covers an array of topics in her teacher voice on TikTok, where she boasts 1.3 million followers. So cringe. Let's take a look at her on TikTok before we see her on Kamala Zoom call.
Oh no, catch a bubble, Uncle Norm. I think you said an inside thought out loud. Is him wearing nail polish a big problem or a little problem? Oh no, does it hurt your body or your heart? Oh my goodness, is he putting the nail polish on your hand? Is he saying, I have nail polish and you don't?
Okay, so profound scholar right there. And here she is on Kamala's Zoom call talking down to the audience, just like a condescending, entitled little brat. By the way, look at her freeze frame right here. This says a lot, but let's try not to throw up. If you have a medical condition, this video might not be right for you. Ask your doctor if watching people that vomit is okay with your current state of health. Here she is.
This election.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so honored to speak today. I am shaking to just be among such incredible company.
We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season.
BIPOC women, when I heard that, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Let's take a look. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not woke enough to know what made up term means. So I looked it up. BIPOC, which stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color, more racial division. And here's another layer of idiocracy to this. The woke left says you're not supposed to call black people black. You're supposed to call them people of color. But they themselves made up this term using the word black, and they use the term people of color, both at the same time, meaning the same thing. One is using a politically incorrect term that they say you shouldn't use, but they use that, and they use the politically correct term. These people might just be idiots. But let's hear more what Idiot Commander-in-Chief has to say.
This is a really important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. No matter who you are all influencers in some way. So tonight, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts for getting involved in politics online.
I will talk down to you. I hope she says the word privilege.
And navigating the toxicity that comes with it. And spoiler alert, as much as the toxicity can come from the outside, it can come from us too.
Primarily her.
So first, don't isolate yourself. We can do our best work when we're in community together.
But also, let's do social distancing.
We are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But don't make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege.
There it is.
Positive changes.
As white women, that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we don't see color, but this Zoom call is only for people of one color, women of one color, including that ugly guy that opened it up. So listen to me. And you might be saying, wow, these Zoom calls look really amazing. What's the white dudes for Kamala Zoom call have in store for us? Well, Brianna Morello watched it, so we don't have to. Let's take a quick look at some of the strong masculine energy that you probably want to emulate of the guys who were on the Zoom call.
I'm white, I'm a dude, and I'm for Harris.
Over the last few years, I've been thinking a lot about men.
I'm not sure if you guys can.
I bet he has been thinking a lot about men.
That feeling you had on the night of Tuesday, November 8th, 2016.
I was stoked that Trump beat Hillary. That's the feeling I have. I was stoked. By the way, white dudes for Harris. This looks like an event set up by the KKK. White men. We're doing white men tonight. All right? We're not the racist ones, but whites only. Only whites in here, okay?
White nationalist in MAGA?
I'm surprised they let this guy on. I don't think he's a white guy.
You want to speak for you specifically as white men.
In the marginalized communities that educate me every single day.
Do you see what I mean when I said, not a drop of testosterone amongst these people? It's wow, these men have... we only detect estrogen here. We can't find any testosterone anywhere. They're all about Kamala.
That this is a constant education for all of us.
Kamala is carrying on her shoulders 248 years of pain.
I don't think she is. She's not 248 years old. And I don't think she carries anybody's pain.
Of hope, of frustration. And no matter how high she jumps, no matter how many degrees she has, no matter how good her grades are.
Or how many guys she bangs to get ahead in politics. She's doing it for us. The ridiculousness of campaigning not to Americans, but campaigning to segregated races, I think is summed up masterfully by the Babylon Bees meme headline. You can see it here. Democrats continue long-standing tradition of large whites-only gatherings. Yep. They sure are. Let me know what you think in the comments below of Kamala's strategy, which, by the way, they're publishing all this stuff about Kamala broke Zoom. She set a record. 160,000 people were at her rally. No, they weren't. They were at their homes. Trump, he can regularly pull tens of thousands of people that go to the inconvenience of physically moving themselves to a rally location. They wait for hours for him to show up, and they're there. If Trump did Zoom rallies, I guarantee Kamala's numbers would look as pathetic as she is. Fact check that, fact checkers. Let me know what you think in the comments below of this whole thing. I'll look forward to seeing you on our next video, but until then, stay awake.